Welcome to the conference center. Please enter your passcode followed by the hash or
Please enter your PIN.
Your passcode has been confirmed. Please wait while you are joined to the conference.
Capabilities built on innovations and designs and superior track record of execution. I always say, and many of you would have heard me say this, Data Patterns was built out of a dream to strengthen India's critical sector of defense and aerospace by providing with world-class products which are at par with global best standards. We have, over the last many years, worked passionately towards these objectives with a strong focus on operational excellence and program execution. Our expertise in providing end-to-end solutions from innovation, design, manufacturing, and servicing gives us a unique edge in our areas of operation. None of this would have been possible without the unmatched dedication of our team members and our employees and the strong support of our esteemed clients. Together, they form the very backbone of our company, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank them for their continued support. Last year, we decided to take our company to the next phase of growth and embark on our journey as a listed entity, and we are genuinely humbled by the response we've received from our new stakeholders. The strong support has further strengthened our confidence in our strategy, which is focused on strengthening the long-term fundamentals of our business to drive revenue growth and margin expansion. As you would have seen from the presentation and press release, which has been uploaded, we have delivered a strong quarter of growth. Our revenues doubled and we maintained high margins. Before we discuss the quarterly performance in detail, I would like to briefly talk about the sector environment. Over the last few years, there has been a significant thrust in Make in India initiative, and we've seen a strong demand for our products and services. The recent budget has further strengthened the already strong positive outlook. The increased defense expenditure and higher collaboration with private sector and R&D provides us with a unique and strategic positioning. So before I hand over to Venkat for discussing financial performance in detail, I would like to briefly touch upon the growth outlook. We are confident of achieving order flow of more than 500 crores in the next 1 year. This will give you an idea of expected revenues. I would also like to inform that we have utilized the proceeds of IPO to repay our debt fully and are now a debt-free company. We are now well-funded and adequately capitalized to manage our growth aspirations. Given the strong macro environment and our strategic positioning, I am confident that we are well-positioned to deliver superior growth to all our stakeholders. I once again thank you for the confidence you have shown in our team and our company and look forward to this continued support. With this, I hand over to Venkat, who will take us through the financial performance for this quarter.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you and your family are doing well in the troubled times. I will discuss the quarterly financial performances in detail. We are happy to inform you that we have delivered a solid quarter of growth. Our revenues almost doubled to rupees 438 million in Q3 FY22. For the 9-month period, the revenues increased 2.1x to INR 1,403 million. We have been focused on improving the proportion of the production contracts in our order book. As the proportion of the production contracts are increasing, there is a higher revenue visibility and consistency. While the seasonality is improving, Q4 continues to be a significant quarter of our company, contributing to more than 50% of the yearly turnover. In line with the higher revenues, our EBITDA is also increasing, and it has increased to 32x to 157 million during the quarter. We continue to maintain high EBITDA margin of 36%. The cash flow from operations are also seeing quarterly consistency, and we have hence been able to manage our working capital more efficiently. With reasonably evened out quarterly performances, we are having a better cash flow position, and our utilization of bank limits have been considerably less, resulting in lesser financing costs. As our MD pointed out, we are now a debt-free company and have utilized the proceeds of IPO to pay off our long-term debt and the working capital debt also. As mentioned, the gross margin has always been high. It is expected to be in the range of 65 to 70%, but it is more dependent. It is not uniform. It is more dependent on the projects that we handle. It is not uniform. With this, I open the floor for question answers. We are ready to take any question answers from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star and 1 at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Renu Baid from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, team, and congratulations for good performance. My first question to you is, Mr. Ranga, you had mentioned in the presentation that more than 500 crores worth of orders are expected in the next 12 months. So if you can help share some more details and inputs in terms of key large projects which you're expecting from these pipeline, specifically some projects which could be in the ticket size of 50 to 100 crore plus. It will help us provide better visibility in terms of order flows. That's the first question.
Thank you. The 500 crores will consist of some of the these are all mostly production contracts based on earlier delivered products, with some development contracts also will be there. The key contracts will be, let me start with BrahMos. You know, recently India signed an export order for BrahMos. We do the launches for BrahMos. We call the fire control systems. We already made the offer. The negotiation is going to happen before the next 2 months' time. We should get 45 to 50 crore kind of contract. The exact value is different, but around that 50 crore we should get a contract from BrahMos. Similarly, you are aware that for LCA Mark 1A, 83 aircraft order is already an order with HAL. We are the avionics supplier, and the cockpit display is designed by us 15 years back. These orders also were 2 fixed numbers. The inquiry has come to us as a single vendor. The negotiations are expected to happen. That is also exceeding 50 crores. We should have a contract in the next 2 months, as what is told by HAL. We are also doing a large supply of EW, which is one of the focus areas of data patterns. And we have supplied all the receivers for Samyukta upgrade program. Similarly, there is a big program which is on way to BEL, which is the Himshakti. We expect that the Himshakti contract will get signed before March to BEL. Back to back, we expect a contract exceeding 100 crores. We've seen a contract from them back to us, which can happen in the next 2 quarters. Similarly, we have some contracts for RWR. Already we have delivered a few systems for radar warning receivers for aircrafts. Some additional orders are expected for various aircraft platforms. That also will be, these will be executed next year itself. We're also expecting some more ground systems on EW for Elite and for planes in desert. We're already doing part of the common systems for DRDO. We expect some more contracts to also happen there. And that also will be delivered next year itself. So some contracts will be delivered next year, and some of them will get positioned over the next 2 years' time. Overall, it works out. Some radar contracts are also expected. So this around 500 crores is expected in the next 9 to 12 months' time.
Sure. Thanks. Also in the presentation, you've highlighted on the precision approach radar. So if you can share some inputs in terms of how large has been this project for us, and what has been the update on execution, and further post-execution of this radar, how does our opportunity within the radar market enhances in the next 2 to 3 years as a radar supplier rather than just being a component or subsystem supplier so far?
Actually, Data Patterns is probably the only company who has designed complete radars in India. Before Precision Approach Radar, which was designed 100% in India and offered to Air Force and Navy, we started our life with building, tracking radars for Department of Space. Our radars track all the launch from Sriharikota and from Trivandrum. Many radars we've delivered, and till line of sight to 2,000 kilometers, we track the radar. That is our first entry, more than 10 years back, into complete radar systems. After which we did some coastal surveillance radar, very large, world's largest wind profile radar on VHF. So we've done a number of those systems, including a Seeker for BrahMos. And then we took up this contract for Precision Approach Radar against a tender from MOD. We're happy to say that we had a successful, no cost, no confirm trial, based on which we were shortlisted and we got the order for about 380 crores, out of which 254 crores were delivery of the radars, about 9 radars, and the rest is for service, maintenance and AMC for the subsequent years. Those radars that we delivered in the next 2 years. The first radar we plan to deliver in March, and then every quarter we will deliver 1 radar, or 8 radars in the next 2 years. That is the plan. We've also created our infrastructure, doubled our production capacity. We have put a new facility at a plant and factory, which will allow us to build large systems. We can bring trucks inside, get the radar and mechanicals inside, and integrate a 10 per ton kind of competency. From just electronic manufacturing infrastructure, we have very modern infrastructure, 100,000 square feet. We've also doubled our capacity now. That is almost ready, the facility. We'll be starting integrating the radar in the next 10 days in that facility, as the rest of the facility is also getting getting completed. So that is the plan for the part. We are on time. We are a bit ahead of schedule. I think we will deliver on time the Precision Approach Radars.
Sure.
And the point of the question is, where do we go from here? We have done all bands of radars, next band. We already also have a airborne for a helicopter and a Dornier application. We built a radar and delivered to DRDO, which is under development from their side and flight testing. Based on which we are expecting a lot more contracts to happen, not only for airborne radars, but also for ground system. We are trying to put up systems, fire control radars and other applications where 100% of the radar will be designed in-house. So this is a very important aspect of our program. The large part of our business comes from radars. Earlier we were doing subsystems. Today we also do subsystems, but we also attempt to do complete radars. We also built Doppler weather radars fully indigenously, both X-band and C-band. It is installed in Bombay and one in Chennai. This is with all the waveforms, processing, everything has been designed by us. So this is a large part of our business, and we expect to put more efforts to build more complex systems going way ahead.
Sure. Thanks much, sir. I have a few more questions. I'll come back in the queue again. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Arora from Axis Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. My first question is if you can throw some light on the product, the avionics as well as the EW product of Sukhoi. As we have discussed earlier, that product was about to get obsolete. I'm talking about R118. So can you throw some light, how's the progress there in terms of, any testing has been done now? And also if you can throw the same for the LCA as well. Has the flight testing has been started? If any progress there, that would be helpful. That's my first question.
We have done many variants of the radar warning receiver with DRDO. It's a joint development with the lab in Hyderabad. We've done the first variant of that, which is actually fitted into the early warning AWNC radar, which is done by CABS in DRDO on the Embraer aircraft. So that is flying. We did both the RWR, we call it a wideband receiver, as well as the L-link portion. All of them is designed, and that is the first variant. Then we've done a next generation, a fairly advanced version of that, which is much smaller, much more compact, and also with a much wider range of acquisition. This we have, one unit we've done that has been fitted into LCA, and they're undergoing flight trials now. Because from an early warning radar to a fighter aircraft, we need to look at the software variations just to go in that. Mm-hmm. That is under almost a lot of flights have been done, and we've got very good results. Some more flights are expected to happen. As far as the LCA Mark 1A air resource is concerned, we have on order. We have done aircraft fit for all of those systems in the next 1 or 2 months' time. We've also done the safety of flight test to make it to be fitted into the aircraft for flight testing. So I expect that DRDO would carry out the flight test in the next few months. But our side, we have done this end of work, which will hopefully meet all the aircraft requirements. At least we've taken care of the cooling, the aircraft engineering, those aspects have been done and the documentations have been done. Now we will fit and then flight, and then we have to wait for performance criteria. That's where it is. I won't be able to say exactly when what will happen because that is not in our end. But I can say that DRDO is exceedingly keen to see that Indian systems are put inside, not only for this but all other aircraft platforms. Because there is an orientation to try to do more in India. And what we've done with DRDO here is world class. So we believe that will meet and exceed all operation criteria. And with more flight tests, I think more rugged, the software will become more rugged. See that all aspects of Air Force and Navy and other users are met with.
Sir, if one has to put a probability here, I understand the defense business is difficult to time the orders, but generally, as you're saying, the response has been good on the LCA of the RWR. First is here, how would you put the probability once you are seeing the flight testing? Because we were hearing the flight testing is very less at the ground level so far. So how would you put the probability, let's say, next 1 year?
I think we will meet the specifications because we're confident of the product we've designed. And our joint working relationship with the DRDO and the problem solving together, their team and our team are working together. I'm sure that with additional flight tests, we should resolve this. Number of tests which happens in a month is something which I have no control over. But we're waiting for those things to happen. I would say the probability is fairly high, but I won't put a number to this. The very fact that so much of money and effort has been spent both by DRDO and data patterns is also a measure of our confidence that we're confident of the product and there is a need. The need can be addressed by importing and put it together, but India should start becoming an equipment supplier. We can't be part supplier and manufacturing for the rest of the world or their designs and for Indian purposes. Government is also of the same view, and more is trying to see that value added or Indian content should be high. Unless we start making critical subsystems and equipment, which is world class in India, where it's our IP, our idea of trying to do more in India is never going to happen. We need to bring the cost of the aircraft down, make the content of the aircraft more Indian. If we want to do that, I think the only way is to try to build more and allow organizations like ours to do all the tests which is necessary to meet customer requirements. I think we are on the way, and the path is there, and there is a requirement. Matter of fact, recently, Air Force has upgraded the specification for 230. We're already working on that upgrade specification. We'll have the product also ready, meeting the upgraded specifications by April, May. So we are on path to do whatever the customer wants in terms of specifications. We're meeting that. And in the volume space given by them, so we have put the systems together. The flight testing with LCA will give us enormous amount of capability to do a fighter class radar warning receiver. And this is an enormous amount of effort is being put by DRDO in this, especially the EW team. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to be successful. We have we cannot think of why we won't be successful. The decision making is a different ballgame. But all we can talk about from a technical viewpoint is that we'll be successful.
And so just one question, if you or Venkat sir can answer it. Generally, going forward, being a very, in a very heavy quarter we are going in, any supply chain disruption you are seeing in your execution, and as well as any margin pressure you feel you will face going forward, or just need your comments on these two aspects. Thank you so much, sir.
See, supply pressure is there. We cannot wish it away, and this is unpredictable. See, we order the component 8 months back, and then suddenly the day of delivery, the component becomes in a back order. These things are happening. This is not uniform. This is not across the profile of all components. But some of the components we have these issues. We are addressing the component issues in two ways. Whether we can look at available components and redesign some parts. If it is going to be done in less than a month's time, and we have the time to do that, we try to do that and address the component obsolescence or obsolescence, that availability of component by replacing with an equivalent or a different component, still making design change internally. We're doing that also, so that the deliveries go hot. That is one. Second, what we're also doing is like looking at alternate sources of supply, which were very, very strict earlier. We're trying to look at alternate sources to see that we address the supply requirements. The third, what we're doing is shifting some orders which is going to be done next year. Because of component, we can't do this. We're trying to pre-ship the component this year. So 3 ways of addressing the component issue we're doing. Going ahead, what we decided is for the next year order book, which we know very clearly quarter to quarter what we're going to deliver. We've already started, ordering material, though there is going to be order ahead of time. We're saying because last minute disruptions take place, we want to see the deliveries are not affected. So we decided to stock components more internally. So that also ordering is happening to see that delivery disruptions do not happen. So we largely address the problem of delivery issues by replacing one with the other kind of thing that I explained to you. That is the first part of the question. The second part of the question is the spike in components prices. See, what's really happening is only a few components. It's not a large percentage. But for us, even a single component when the equipment is not available, we can't deliver because that is the nature of the beast. So even if there's a small spike or a spike on 1 or 2 components, it doesn't affect the overall performance of the organization on the background. Second, you are all aware that, our gross margin is also reasonable. So with the result that any component, a few components, increased prices does not really make much dent in the overall gross margin and the EBITDA, as long as we deliver the products and meet revenue expectations. So really it is not of much of a concern at the present moment. And when the prices are very high and we have a longer lead time, we try to redesign and look at something else to address that kind of issue. This is how we manage.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Tulsian from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. The first question is regarding just extending the supply chain question further. So the deliveries that we did in third quarter, were they a bit lower than what you had earlier estimated, or did you face any material delays in some of these supplies? And a related question to that is, you mentioned in the presentation that more than 50% of revenues will continue to be done in the fourth quarter. So should we assume that 300 crores odd should be a reasonable target that you should meet in terms of top line for this year, and probably what can be the ideal revenue growth for next year?
Okay. See, we did plan for some more delivery for third quarter. That is getting shifted to fourth quarter because, like you said, some of the components didn't come on time. So we need to push it to fourth quarter. But that is not on schedule and to go into the fourth quarter. But that is not a very large percentage. But anyway, that is what has happened. Traditionally, you have seen all over in the past, we are quarter 4 heavy in terms of revenue. It goes to 70 to 80% or 85% sometimes. That's more because we have development contracts largely, and that gets shipped to last part of the month. But now that the translation from development production is happening, we have order visibility and also quarter-to-quarter delivery has started happening. I think going ahead, we'll do more of quarter-to-quarter delivery. Obviously, we can't have complete quarter-to-quarter on a difficult production organization because our capital equipment business is last quarter heavy. So there will be a bunching of contract delivery towards last quarter. This year, we expect that we have done about 40% of our business. So another 60% of our overall revenue would come in the last quarter, which is the next 2 months, which is going to happen. So this is also there. We have the orders in hand and deliveries are on way and production is happening now. To ask the second question, yes, we expect that our revenue should be about 300 crores is what we are aiming for to see the deliveries happen on this year, this fourth quarter and this financial year. Going ahead, the coming year, I think we already have some 200 crores which we have booked orders in the last 9 months. We have particular orders in hand today is about, as of 31st is 577. After that, we've got another 30 crores orders. So more than 600 crores orders in hand we have. And we're also expecting some 100 crores in the next 2 months. plus another 400 crores in the next 9 months to go. So I think we have a good order book. Some of the contracts we are expecting are all in single tender orders, and we expect to deliver them next year itself. Some goes to the year after next for delivery. So keeping this in mind, I think we should have a minimum 30%, 40%, 30 to 40% should be a revenue growth based on financial 22. We should be able to do 30 to 40% is what we're aiming.
Sure. So second question is pertaining to the mix, because in 9 months what we have seen is in your order inflows, the share of development orders has started increasing again. So where would you want this mix ideally going forward in terms of a new order intake? And again, based on this, the expectation for the next 1 year of 500 crores, if you could give us a broad sense how it would be split between developmental and production orders.
Last 1 year, we've got a lot more development orders. This is again because, if you look at the development orders, the size of each contract is tens of crores. It's not a 50,000 or 2 lakhs or 10 lakh or 1 crore contract. Again, it reflects the kind of business we're doing, that we're doing very large subsystems of those contracts. A very, very large portion of it is done by us because our competency is that end-to-end we design electronics, so it's a very large complex systems we're delivering. So we've started taking those kind of contracts. All of them have a revenue potential or a production potential in all of them. So it is necessary to continue these kind of development, which can give you continued production revenue in 2 years from now. So we need to have this development contract, and we take that. Coming back to what is an optimal mix, the optimal mix is about 70% production, 20% development, and 10 to 12% if you do post-service, that is AMC kind of service revenue, is an optimal mix. We are trying to retain the optimal mix. Though the size of business is going, the revenue is going up, we need to enhance the development also in line to see we deliver more large systems. So that is the kind of a model we're looking at. And we are almost there. We are already getting those kind of contracts. A lot of them are coming single vendor or resultant single vendor because of the specialized nature of products and the delivery model with their competencies. But we continue to try to invest on the competency model and see that IP creation is done so that the end systems can be delivered from us. So that is the kind of model we are driving. We continue to do that.
All right. And last question from my side is on the capital requirement that you will have based on the capital expenditure that we have already incurred in the new site. How much more is pending to be spent from the next 1 year perspective? And given that you will be ramping up revenues from current 300 crore run rate to almost 400 to 450 crore kind of a run rate next year, what kind of working capital requirement will be there in the company? And secondly, in terms of increasing the average ticket size of orders, you're wanting to take more orders which are 100 crore plus in terms of size. Are you looking at any JVs or technology tie-ups going forward? Because as of now, everything is done 100% in-house, so that this upgrade happens faster, or would you want to go at a gradual pace and do it 100% in-house in future?
Okay, you've asked a lot of questions. Let me take one at a time. First is on the production capacity. We have a pick and place line, automatic pick and place line for the electronic manufacturing and stuffing and soldering of the boards. So that is not though we have one line, the capacity is very large, and we're running it 1 to 2 shifts now, so third shift we continue to operate and do through the year. I think we were able to, ramp up production to 400 crores. But what we are also doing is, we do have a single line now, so we're doubling the capacity in the new factory which we're building up. So that will at least give us, production capacity to a few hundred crores extra that can get done. And so there is a single point failure. That also we're doing. And also increasing the test infrastructure in terms of vibration, thermocycling and all of them. We are creating those facilities. We're also putting a lot of test systems because now there's a lot of RF and microwave parts we do. So we increase the test system because that is necessary to finally validate all the systems delivered. Here also we spend more than 20 odd crores on equipment, which has been spent for part of the capex, which is already declared in the IPO. So we're spending about around 80 crores in the next infrastructure which we're creating. But the difference is that against the electronic manufacturing which I talked about enhancing, we're also, creating a large capacity for system integration infrastructure. That is, I can build full radars, I can build trucks inside my in factory, outfit the trucks for EW or radar, mobile intelligence. So we have put in a mechanical integration facility, tons of metal can be brought inside, integrated. Those kind of capabilities we built so that whatever design we do on equipment, the complete equipment can be done by us and dispatched for the first few pieces. Now coming to the second part of the question. So we've already built the capital necessary, infrastructure necessary to scale to 450 or 600, 700 crores. We have that. But having said that, what will happen is the capex requirement will also depend on the kind of products we get in terms of contracts. Where we can do 100 crore, 200 crores, we can do a radar contract. I don't have to put additional capacity because the capacity we create for power will be adequate for us to take it. But however, if some of the radios have to come and manufacturing has to happen and a few hundred crores comes to picture, then we need to have test infrastructure, automatic testing and testing infrastructure to be created. So this will be order specific. We need to set up a line for producing. Since everything is designed in-house, we create our line, we put it to automatic test because that is one of the key competencies Data Balance has. So we create our own process and integrate and test and validate. So, but we need to spend that capex. It may be about 5 to 7% of the contract value. That will come from based on the contract. That will also come part of the contract itself. We will be spending from that. So we are not overly worried about the capex portion. We've got general capex infrastructure created to scale the company and meet all our requirements. Specific to contract, we may buy a few equipment and integrate. So that again, while we get the contract, we can do this and we have time to do that as part of the contract delivery model itself. So we don't have an issue. So that is the second part of the question that this infrastructure and scaling is happening. The third question is on the working capital. Venkat, would you like to answer?
Working capital, actually we have, currently we have about 53 crore of fund-based and 153 crore of non-fund-based facility. Out of the IPO process, we have cleared all our fund-based limits. And for the next 1 year, we have estimated our working capital requirement to be around 250 crore, which we have already started dialoguing with the bankers. We will be requiring more of non-fund-based and, we'll be finalizing the bankers soon.
Yeah, our business model is, since now that IPO money is available, working capital is going to be from internal resources.
Fund-based. Yeah.
Fund-based. The non-fund is mainly what we will be doing, more than 200 crores of non-fund, which again is only what. So it is going to be debt less as far as working capital is concerned. I don't think we need to overly worry today because the requirements are fund-based is going to be very, very low. The non-fund is going to be there, but that is adequately can be taken care of based on the balance sheet size we have. Yeah. So that should not be a problem. The fourth question is on sizing of borders and scaling of business. This is what we talked about. All of us would like to get 100 plus crores orders. We want to aim to do that, but we are not having many 100 plus crores orders. I think the coming year we should get at least 100 plus crore order in the EW domain. And then there will be a 50 crore, 30 crore, these kind of orders. A few of them is going to come into picture, some 50 crores, 70 crores. These orders will happen. So, but this is an eclectic mix which we will have because we have a product profile which is large. So we will continue to address all those markets with the product profile. So all of us would like to do the same product, 1,000 crores. It is always good. But that is not practical in the kind of market space we're operating. That is why we have 450 engineers doing design and trying to build products for future. So it is going to be eclectic mix, but the general direction and competency and product is going to be radar, EW, fire control systems, communications, avionics, the satellites, and test systems, and something similar to that. And then number of those systems required for air, land, water, underwater, etc. So that area will go. We are continuously increasing our IP content so that the end systems can be delivered by us. So that is where we go. The fifth part is, can you do organic growth or are we trying to build up, collaborations with outsiders? We are talking to a number of companies in Sweden, in Germany, in Europe. We are talking to them. They are in advanced stage. We have already started doing co-development with such companies, very large multinationals, where we do the hardware here. We take some of the competent software which we don't have, address it not only in the Indian market but the global market. A joint development we are doing. We may even sign a MOU with them shortly to see that already the development is undergoing. They're also doing a lot more development for one UK company. It's again a very large, $30 billion plus kind company. We are doing avionics for them. The airborne radar, single process design theirs. The 100th unit is being delivered now. They're quite happy with this, so they have given us another 3 more different kind of contracts which we have developed and delivered. So we expect that also value of proposition to grow. On top of that, we're also looking at scaling our capability and addressing more opportunities in India if we were to collaborate with them to make those opportunities. But all this will happen provided, there is an Indian content requirement as Government of India wants. We address the requirement and the opportunity can be fully addressed, by us here. So there are thoughts, there are discussions, but we cannot give you a revenue proposition or something at the present moment. This is the level we are doing. We are also looking, like I told in the IPO, that we have a competency model which is unmatched. That means we build across the stable electronics, we do embedded software, we do all wire, we do system engineering, we do mechanical engineering and product engineering. So we are thinking that, why don't we actually look at a service model and build a service model as either a division of data partners or a separate entity funded by data partners and wholly owned. This is something which we're discussing internally and we take it to the board with the right opportunities. We want to incubate such opportunity to see that the capabilities is also looked at from a completely export model rather than an Indian model, which will not be product model, which will be a service model. We need to bring in some competent organized people with that. So that also we are already trying to understand. This incubation, I think we will take it up after this quarter is over. The bandwidths are fully on delivery now. So after this quarter, next year, we want to look at those kind of models and incubate it. So that at least 2 years, 3 years from now, we have a successful initial revenue model and a customer base with which we can rapidly scale that business. There is a huge opportunity there, and we have a competency model in this availability. We need to build a market model for it, and also delivery mechanisms, which will be necessary for a software or a service model. So this is the present thinking, and where we want to go.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Santosh Yelapu from Asian Markets Securities. Please go ahead.
So thank you for the opportunity. I had 2 questions. First, I would like to get a clarification with regards to the procurement material. If as you said earlier, that we would opt for different sourcing and try to work on a different alternatives to ensure that the delivery timelines are not getting pushed. So anytime if we change the configuration of the product or the design slightly also, or even the components, won't we need the approval of the DRDO, and won't that further delay the process?
That's what we are trying to do is, wherever we can address, we have this 2-3 months timeline and we still don't have visibility of component delivery. Then we can go back to a drawing board and see the minor corrections are done. What happens when the corrections are minor, we come to an understanding of what is the test criteria we need to do. Address that, make that test. Of course, there's a cost attached to all this, but in the interest of delivery model, and because customers are also quite unhappy. Everybody in the electronic market is unhappy, users as well as the production agencies. They're unhappy because they can meet their schedules and their need is not addressed. So because this is a different environment, we go back to the customer and talk to them on an approach model. And once we come to a conclusion that is acceptable to both, then we'll do the test, because at no point in time can we deliver a product which is not acceptable to customer or meeting environmental criteria and quality standards. That is not possible. So within the realm of all of them, when we come to a conclusion, we can see whether we can do this. So this we are doing at our cost initially to see all this is working. We take it to the customer and then see what. So we are trying to do that. Some other area what we're doing is, okay, last year what we were going to deliver, we're trying to pre-deliver those things here. The customer also wants to deliver. So the component doesn't come, then we postpone it to next quarter. So both we are doing, but not at the expense of quality or process.
Good, sir. Good. Sir, one question next. If you look at the order book, what are the top 5 orders and what's their exact status as of now, and when they would be getting delivered?
Today, let's say we have 600 crores orders,
right,
out of which 250 odd crores is far, that will be delivered in the next 2 years. The next 350 crores, again, will be delivered. Some are delivering in the next 2 months. It's more than 100 odd crores, being about 150 crores, going to get delivered next 2 months. Then will be delivered next year. And a little bit of that will fall in the year after next. So all of them in the next 2 years is what is the plan for delivery of all this. We expect another 500 crore order. Again, most of them will deliver in the next 2 years.
Actually, I was trying to understand what percentage of the current order book is getting impacted because of this rework or redesign on the raw materials procurement side. From that context, I'm trying to understand.
Here we have addressed the requirement. We will be delivering on time, and we have taken all corrective actions necessary so that the component availability is not affecting us. At least for the orders on hand position, we have addressed the issue because we had the orders about a year back. So when the components did not start coming, we started taking corrective action long back. And week on week, daily, we are monitoring on available components and delivery mechanisms. And accordingly, we are repositioning our delivery model. But I think we are almost on top of the problem now, at least for contracts on hand.
Okay. Sir, from an export point of view, barring the UK-based client of ours, what all initiatives are we taking? It means we have some plans to pursue opportunities from the international markets. Have we thought on that front? Now I think the IPO is done. Any more thoughts on that side? How to tap or pursue the opportunity there?
We've already put a consultant in place for the services model. They have given us an offer, engineering services. That is being considered. So it will take us a few more months to get the decision on how to go about exactly fine-tune the business and then go ahead. So we expect to start after a few months. But we have already initiated proposals about it. We are already also talking to outside India, international multinationals, to see how we can collaborate and work share on a competency model as well as the market model, which is opportunities coming. I've already started talking to the heads of public sector enterprises, see where collaborations are possible, where we will address the requirement of Made in India requirements, what are the areas. So we're going to continue to engage on discussions with them, on their technical team, our technical team, to see that we can address the requirement to add value in India. So as government initiatives are there, so we've already started doing that. Third, what we've already started doing is looking at the private sector space. The strategic partner model, which is going to come in, and a lot more is going to get done in industry today rather than import and integrate. So which government is very clear. So from that model, we're also seeing whether can we create an ecosystem here. The platform is going to be done. Can you build the equipment here? So typically what is happening when you do a platform here, all the equipment is imported and integrated. But once you do that, the value add or the Indian content is going to be very low. That is the necessity. They do this because there is no equipment supplier in India who have these kind of fairly high-end world-class systems, because the specifications are not moderated. It is actually world-class specifications. Nobody is going to buy second-hand or second-order specifications. So we need to be able to address the specifications and give it within a timeline which is required by the customer and the supplier thereof. So we are trying to see in our area of electronic intelligence, EW and radars and data links and COM areas where we have a competency model. So we're trying to say, can we build the full equipment and see that we become a source other than a multinational or foreign company. That also, I think, first order has started coming in. Radio relays is airborne. We just got the first order about a week back. Again, we're developing it not because of one-off systems to make money, but more towards build a product model which will go into an ecosystem. So we are trying to drive that kind of business to see that we do make in India. All this will come in a revenue proposition. Small revenues will happen now, but the larger revenues on wins, large contract wins by those companies, back-to-back the equipment orders will come. It will take a few more years. But that is the direction which the company has to take. We want to be a defense equipment supplier. We have to look at long-term investments and long-term model and a sustainable business model which will build based on the product competencies we build and the approved products which we can deliver. So this is the approach we're going to take. The fourth thing we want to do is slightly different from others. Like I've always been saying, we want to get into space, go for satellite. See, we put in 7-8 years of effort to build our own small satellite, nano satellite. ISRO buys all the nano satellite parts from us, the ground station, as well as satellite parts. And we want to build a slightly scale model, a small satellite, micro satellite. We have the capability. The market is latent. It's still not approached. Market has not come. So recently we've tried to, we've also become part of a consortium from IIT Madras who make for the space program, where Agnikul is going to do the rockets and the launcher, and Galaxy is trying to build some software based on some satellites is there, and then the other people of civil passing experts are all gone together. A lovely bunch of young guys who have a lot of competency and a tremendous amount of vision and passion, and they have come out. So we decided that we will also be part of that consortium. So we become part of the consortium, where we bring our maturity model on design, on avionics and systems and engineering. We do a concept model which they have. Hopefully this will all match. We want to think slightly different from other organizations. We want to build our competency in India, build the systems in India. They've got some funding, so we should be able to put the products together. Can we take it global? Can we address Indian requirements, take it global? These are questions which is being asked. We want to provide part of the answers for all of them. So that also we've done. So we're thinking on various levels on collaborative work, which will not diminish our competency or our product, but will actually enhance the product application of what we have. The common base of competency is same, the product engineering is same, but we need to create our own markets, which is not dependent only on government and MOD business. So towards that, we're trying to see what collaborations will come. Can we do it alone, or can we have some partners? So a whole lot of thinking is going on, and we are trying to do all of them one at a time or sometimes together. So this is where the direction and path is.
Okay. Sir, lastly, so if one sees the allocation towards the DRDO's capex for FY23, I think it is somewhere north of 10,000 crores. So what type of programs, the developmental programs from the radars, avionics, and the EW space, which we are expecting to work with the DRDO labs for FY23 of this kind of opportunity, what is our interest, or where do we intend to, where do you see the opportunity in from the developmental orders?
For example, now last month we issued a contract of 27 crores. This is going to be a next generation alien system, which has got a very wide bandwidth. We've already delivered that kind of a bandwidth for RWR, radar warning receiver. The same thing now is put into a alien platform. And we are designing it in a very small footprint hardware, which will be delivered in the course of 2022-23. And that I expect that is now in position for air, water, underwater, air, sea, as well as ground application. So this is a common backbone which can be put into very, very many applications, and it's going to be very modern and very wide range. So things like that, once we start in, then it brings its own product into various kinds of end applications. So that is one we're doing. We're also doing, we got an order which we're delivering now this month, next month, is for the planes in desert, next generation comm receivers. This is going to be 6 gigahertz. It's a world-class specification which we have designed, meets all of them. Again, this is though it's meant for a ground application. We have designed it in such a way that it can go for extreme temperature, 71 degrees operation, high vibration levels. We've made it a form-fit function for all of those requirements. So EW is a very long part, a large part of what we do, and we are trying to build product competencies across the domain of EW up to 40 gigahertz, from HF to 40 gigahertz. We're also collaborating with a German company, multinational, to see whether our hardware can be taken and their advanced software can be ported to this. So we're building a product for them which will be shipped out to them for integration and testing, so that this can be offered for an Indian context or outside India also, where rugged products are available. So we will be focusing in both DRDO and outside DRDO on this. Also, I told you, we are trying to collaborate with OEMs in India, so surveillance systems and things like that, where parts developed for DRDO can get modified, and that can be put into various other ecosystems. So this is a kind of plan we are having. That EW is one part. The second part is going to be on radars. Multiple kinds of radars are being designed by DRDO, full systems. Again, we have got a competency model which can do from antenna to signal processing, everything we can design ourselves. Just because we can design, not that all orders will happen to us, but we have a competency model to address the requirement of DRDO. And there's very, very large radars are being planned, not only for ground, but also airborne radars are being planned. We believe that we should be part of that radar subsystems and big systems. If you manage to get those contracts, it will be very large value jump, and the requirements are large, and a few numbers, thousands of crores is required. So our focus is to build a competency to address the requirement to give a faster turnaround time and delivery time to customer. So if that works and we were to get, I think that the scalability will happen. So these are two areas what you're doing. Third is in communication. We're doing with DRDO the next generation airborne radio for fighter aircrafts, which India is importing today. if this is successful, they want to give this to various kinds of platforms. This we're delivering this next 2 months. We're delivering the first few systems, and this is going to go to flight testing now. Then there will be aircraft-specific systems people will do, and the requirements are fairly large numbers. The fourth area is whatever we've done in terms of EW and LN, put it into various kinds of platforms and have them flown to give the acceptance criteria for that particular aircraft or airplane. It is necessary with customers are very keen that it is actually flying in their platform rather than saying, okay, it can be fitted anywhere, because there are issues of interferences in an aircraft platform or EW and the radar interference, signature interferences. So we need to see that as an equipment it is fully flying there and meeting the desired performance requirements. So we have a number of plans, and we've done a lot of work on product development. And there are a lot of opportunities opening up. I think we'll address all those opportunities as we go along. And again, like I said, in the pilot course, additional orders will come from BEL because they are getting an order back-to-back. Our systems is gone, the original system design, so we get the back-to-back order. LCA is another such example where cockpit display will design. They already designed systems for LUH. If they get a production order for light-duty helicopter, we get a large part of that. All the cockpit displays is designed by us there. So number of such programs are there. If repeat orders come, this will help us scale the business.
So, what is the receivables and inventory outstanding? My last question. Thank you.
What is that again? Can you please repeat?
Inventory and receivables outstanding.
Yeah. As of December 21, we have a receivable outstanding of about 122 crore and an inventory of about 106 crore.
And the corresponding numbers last year, sir? December 20 end?
You want December 20 or December 20?
December 20, sir.
Yeah. December 20, we had a receivable of 95 crore and inventory of almost the same level, 106 crore.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would request participants to please limit your question to 2 at a time. The next question is from the line of Vishal Srivastava from Swant Investments. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question, sir, and congratulations for good set of numbers.
You, Vishal, may I request you to come on the handset mode? Your audio is not clear.
Am I clear now?
No, sir. There's an echo from your line. I think you're on speaker. If you can come on the handset mode, it will actually be clearer.
Okay, apologies. Am I clear now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So one question from my side. Can you share, product-wise for the key products, the revenue share for this year and the growth prospect of these key products 2 and 3 years down the line?
See, what happens is, it's not a single product or 2, 3 products. It gives you regular income year on year or quarter to quarter. Every product or program, for example, PAR, we say 9 systems you're delivering, that is an order-specific contract. After this contract, unless you get another contract for similar requirements, you will not be able to project it. So these are program-specific. Though underlying parts and competencies are similar, it has to be for a product where the equipment animal is different. So it's difficult to give exactly the way you're asking. I can say that 50% of our contracts are in radars, which will deliver. Some 20-25% is in EW, the avionics and other systems, rest factor system, 5-7%. Like that I can give you, but not quarter to quarter, because what happens every quarter the product mix delivery changes. So we don't look at it from that angle, because we look at how much product, how much delivered, total order book is this much. What is the next business happening? What is the development what we need to do so to address that business? So we look at it slightly differently from the way you're asking us.
Okay. Sir, I was asking actually for the year FY22, the product mix, for example, avionics, EW systems and radar exports to some extent. So the mix in this way, and going forward, how you are seeing the growth trajectory in next 2-3 years period for these products?
This year, more than 100 crores are going to be in EW. It's a large part is going to be more than 30% in EW, because we got a good order last year before last. on Samhita upgrade, which we delivered completely this year. Plus a lot of RWR, more than 50 crores of RWR and LN 75 crores we delivered. We have more orders of that which is undergoing deliveries of comment and other things. So maybe 40-45% is going to be of EW, and then maybe some 25-30% is going to be on radars, and the rest are so many other parts which we do. But this year has been more of EW. Last year has been more of radar. So, but that it is not uniform. But this year we have a lot of EW part of our overall delivery model.
Okay. And so going forward, how are you seeing growth prospects in few of these products and in 2 or 3 years down the line?
Yes, we do because next 2 years, EW and radar, both of them will be a substantial part of our business. Based on what we've earlier developed, production orders are coming back to back from Bharat Electronics. The second is the airborne systems we're doing in EW, which is all unique, which is directly going to aircraft now. Aircraft testing is happening, and if the orders happen through HAL because that's they are the integrator of the system. So we expect that to happen over the next 2 years. It may not happen next year, but it will happen. We'll probably get more orders for more aircrafts to be delivered on the next year, and flight testing will happen. Then after 1 year of flight tests, I think the contract should kick in. It all depends on the urgency of that program for Air Force or Army, based on which back-to-back the contracts will happen. But there are sizable business, and this will be an annuity business if it happens because they can't actually put down all the aircrafts and upgrade it. So based on the upgrade requirements, how many they can bring down the upgrade, it will go 5-7 years of delivery. But it is sizable revenue on a predictable yearly basis you'll get. So that's a good thing. We're also using the same things to other applications, which is today surveillance UAVs and things like that. Different kinds of platforms are coming in play. They're trying to adjust all these systems for those kind of requirements so that Air Force or Army has a requirement. Industry is now trying to build platforms. So we're trying to do that. Then the third generation UAV is planes and deserts and mountains. A large requirement has come up. Again, we have become the design agency with DRDO, building all the basic products and receivers for all of them. So once that is successfully tested in the ground, I expect that again Bharat Electronics should get the final integrated order. Back to back, we should get the order based on funding, and then it happens. But a number of flavors of that is going to go into a number of programs. So, and we made it very small footprint with enormous competency that we can put it without change in form factor. We can put in various kinds of platforms. So that is our program. The radar orders, again, what we've done some parts of the Ashwini radar. We've done most part of Ashwini radar. Then Aradhra is another radar. 8 inquiries have come from Air Force to Bharat Electronics. Once they get the order back to back, we should get some business back to us because we have done some group receivers for them for each radar. Some electronics has gone into, so we'll get set. So like that, whatever we've done 5-7 years back, repeat orders will also start coming from next year onwards. That also will scale up. Other than the new products we're talking about, which will help us scale the business.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you for such an elaborated answer, sir. So my last question regarding, sir, actually I missed your input on the capex part. So what was the investment and the capex we have done this year and next year? What your expectation?
See, we've already spending about 80 odd crores on capex. We started spending it last year before the IPO. So now that we've repaid all the loans taken from them, so that is getting over in the next 4-5 months. I think the building construction will be over. Maybe 3 months subsequent to that, we will outfit all the equipment which you have. So that it's almost 90% complete, the facility. So we're doing that. We're also buying some land additional to see that we have more land available for growth. That's also there because in all our land now we've built about 6 acres. We've built up facility now. We're buying another nearly 3 acres right next to us. That's also we are paying the money now and buying the land on SIPCOT government. So this is the capex which we have already planned and we're going ahead with that. We don't anticipate additional capex immediately. If at all it is going to happen, if a large contract comes and we need to build some test equipment for getting the line and also delivery. If you want a very fast delivery model, then I need to quickly test and validate and ship. Then they necessitate some equipment to be brought in and we integrate or redesign some. That will be part of the program specific requirements. and that will be handled out of the existing program. That program cost itself it will get handled. We don't have to put additional infrastructure specifically. So very minor, additional capex to be done year on year, unless there's a really large contract coming in. We are quite well equipped to handle large contracts now.
Great, sir. Great. So, sir, if I understand, 80 odd crores over a period of FY22 and 23. So, maximum of this 80 crores will come in FY22, and some portion will roll over to FY23. Is my understanding right?
Portion half and half.
Half and half. Yeah.
Because unless the building is ready, the equipment can't be installed. We bought some equipment which is necessary, which is not building specific use for production now. That has been come about 20 odd crores we bought. The facility itself is also 20 odd crores, so that facility construction is happening now. Almost everything getting completed. The rest of the equipment is on order, and once the facility is completed, only we need to put a foundation, put all those things, and put the equipment there. So that will happen around June, July time frames. So, but we're comfortable in that. We don't, we have additional facility infrastructure already with us. So we are only trying to scale. When production scales, I need to have a test infrastructure to address that scale which is happening. So future only we have bought all the infrastructure and we are putting capex for the future deliverables.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you for the answer, sir. I'll fall back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Request participants to please limit your question to 2 at a time. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Avatramani. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Avatramani from Envision Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, sir, I just wanted to know the margins which we will be sustaining and what are the margins we are expecting next year. If you could highlight something on that.
See, our typical EBITDA is around 40+%. We will continue to do that as long as we scale our revenue the way we are saying. Our EBITDA will be upwards of 40%.
Okay, so and if you can elaborate on the distribution side, I mean from the development contracts, from production contracts, and from services, that will be much helpful. So if you can do that.
What happens is the company level, I'm telling you, on the development mode, typically what we do, because we have competition in development cycle, we don't, as a policy, as all along, we've been actually developing products and absorbing development costs. We only work on production costs to see that we have a competitive model there. But having said that, what we do in development is we try to develop building blocks. That's the approach which we follow. We try to make modular building, though this particular equipment, some design is necessary, we try to make it modularize it. So with the result, the next generation or next product which you do, we try to use this development, already developed building block to take it to on the next system. So we try to appropriate development costs over many programs. This has been the model for the last 15-20 years. We continue to address that. Having understood the overall implementation, we try to see can we make reusable libraries and software, reusable firmware, reusable product blocks, so that we not only do we have reduce the development cost per se, but also to have reliability built in, because once it is validated, when you put it together, we have enhanced reliability and acceptance is going to be faster. And we can also deliver the equipment faster. So it has many advantages. And since we are absorbing the development cost, we try to build what is similar products available abroad, one-on-one. We try to build that. So even if we want to put this specifically and buy, we have an equivalent product done in India. So that is the model. Okay, this is for the development itself. And as far as the question is concerned, development production on service, the gross margins and things like that, it's similar to development and production. Since we absorb development cost, development production actually it is almost similar, unless we very aggressively quote during development time, then the gross margin comes down, and then we try to then the production cost. But whatever production we get, the gross margins are already finalized because this has been designed 7 years back, 5 years back. And so we have an exact cost model in all of them. So when you get repeat orders of production contract, this is all in the similar lines I'm talking about, 65 to 70% gross margin will be there on material. But there's more because unless other companies will buy and integrate and do development for a few pieces here or some part of it, actually whatever other people import, we have designed ourselves. So we work on a component model in all of them. And there is a lot of development costs which is incurred which is not really recovered. It gets recovered over the delivery models of number of systems. So that is how it looks like that we've got a very high gross margin. That is because we have not, recovered those costs in the previous years, and we funded all those earlier years. So that is what is visible today. When it comes to production orders, it comes to similar margins we have. On service, of course, our margins will be slightly more because, unless there are failures and repairs, electronics and material cost goes in. We try to ensure that the failures are minimal, but there is a cost of transportation, travel, because we need to do quarterly visits, test, validate. There is some equipment which is maintained on service, some spares maintained because we need uptime guarantee. We don't want to get the customer down, so we've enhanced our service guys. We have more than 45 people now in engineers grouped in servicing. We're gradually increasing the number of people to see that we can address the territory of all India, and we also positioned ourselves differently. We have some people in North India, we have positioned in Trivandrum and Bangalore. So we're trying to position ourselves so that they are nearest customer and support. So those are the costs really come into picture, not material costs there. But all of them, like I said, production and development, we are almost similar in cost.
Okay, sir. I think this answers my question. Thank you so much for this, sir, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nihar Dave from AKD Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations on a very strong set of numbers. Sir, as you commented that 60% of your revenue is likely to be booked in Q4, so would it be fair to assume that this ratio of 60-65% revenue booking that we do, that you will do in Q4, will continue for the next at least 2 years, or will that ratio come down?
I don't have the plan for next year in front of me. We have made the plan for Q1, what we deliver, Q2, what we deliver. I have to look at it. At the present moment, I have no access to the plan. But largely, some 50% plus will happen in the last quarter because all said and done, even though we deliver quarter-wise, some deliveries are happening. I think there will be a bunch of delivery over the last quarter, because we do have a portion of development contracts that get pushed in the last quarter. That happens either way. Second, also because not all deliveries customer want on the first quarter, second quarter, they are also required. And suppose we get the order starting this year, beginning, it takes 8-9 months to deliver the system. So even if we lay BrahMos, we get the order by March. We can't deliver in the first 2-3 quarters because component lead times are 6 to 8 months time. So we need to plan that and then deliver. So finally, if the customer wants, it gets pushed down to March, that particular quarter. So there will be a bunch of it. The exact nature, I have the production plan and the order book. I'll have to look into it and get back. You can do one-on-one call with me to do that a bit later. But generally speaking, there will be quarter to quarter, but then there will be bunching up towards the year end.
Fair enough, sir. And my second question, sir, is that you've been enjoying this industry-leading EBITDA of, say, 40% plus and about PAT margin of 22-23%. So going forward, so over FY23 and FY24, do you see that maintaining or getting better or coming under pressure? How does it look like as we sit today?
If the revenues go up 30-40%, our EBITDA will go up, our PAT will go up. So it's a question of trying to get the revenue up, get the order and deliver the order. Because my cost model is already firmed up when I delivered the first pieces 3 years back. So what we get from customer is there is a year-on-year escalation cost is also brought into the pricing as per standard terms and norms. Then there is a exchange rate fluctuation which is also brought in because electronic components are imported. There is a US dollar, a pound, or a euro come into picture. So when we do fresh contracts, this is all brought into picture. And this is in line with auto costing model which is there. And if you were to buy, let's say, a processor module from US, they're going to pay it at a higher price. The only thing is, I built the processor here, so I paid a raw material cost. But what they do is, we don't have an equivalent in India. So they are looking at an imported model, and that is where our pricing also works out. So having said that, there is escalation, and that happens. So going ahead, if the revenue is going to go up, our EBITDA for the next 2 years at least, because this is based on previously delivered products, we will have them. Now, fresh orders, what we do, competitive models, that's a different ballgame. But the question is 22-23, 23-24, as long as the revenues are going up, I think this percentage, whatever EBITDA PAT we're talking about, we should meet and exceed the numbers.
Okay, sir. That's great to hear. And my last question, sir, I just wanted to update, if it's possible. We were supposed to receive some a 200 system contract order from Leonardo UK, if I'm correct. So could you throw some light on that?
200. Not 200. We have delivered the 100 systems. That's over many years.
Okay.
They are saying that they will give us more orders. So this is supposed to come this quarter. Next quarter, we're going to have a fresh set of orders. We already have some 13-14 crores orders, which is still there, which will deliver over the next few months. But they're going to, increase the number of orders. For 2-3 programs, they've told us that will happen. So that discussion has started. I think we should get the order. But it may not be 200 systems, but it may be some numbers exactly, I'm not sure. But some more numbers, and 2 or 3 variants of this orders will come. We are also trying to enhance the cooperation with them by building other products for them. And inquiries also coming to us in the next 2-3 weeks. So we want to really engage that. We do an Indian development model and deliver for world about that. So we're trying to see what we can do with their orders.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for being so explicit and explaining everything so clearly. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Renu Baid from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Just a follow-up question on competition. If you can give some comments as the company is now looking to scale up in terms of larger integration orders and radar programs and EW systems. How is the competition in the system integration type of market for data patterns? And do we see the competitive intensity heating up from some of the other domestic private sector players?
Competition is always there. We have 2-3 kinds of competition. On the MOD business, we will have competition with all the large corporates. Our smaller companies also trying to quote there, but largely it's large corporates. The large corporate will have back-to-back arrangement with a multinational OEM, and that is how the competition will be. So that will continue to be there, but we're not actually pegging our numbers for any kind of future contracts and inquiries. Whatever we're doing now in the next 1 or 2 years' time is based on what we've already done, and where we mostly will get single vendor orders. They're not a competitive kind of order. We are not the next 5 crores. I'm saying none of them are very, very few of them will be on a competitive pricing or a tender. This will be repeat orders which you have to get for programs already we've done. So that is the kind of basis with which we have put infrastructure, not on a tender basis. So that is very risky, so we will not do that. So with a very confident kind of an order book is what we are putting infrastructure and people. So that is one. But competition exists for new contracts. They will be from large corporates and MOD. On the DRDO front, we have a number of competitors. We did RF and microwave. Earlier it was only Astra microwave. Now a number of other companies also want to get into this to compete on that area. Not all of them will be successful, but the competition is trying to bring in more infrastructure and then try to quote low and get contracts with their companies. On the digital, we have Mistral, we have Corel, we have other organizations coming in competing with us on that. Some of them, what they do, they also represent US companies and European companies. So they buy the modules from here and some customization to do. So that kind of competition is there. Other smaller companies are there to actually build from scratch, design, and also do. So competition is across the board. What we are trying to do is try to differentiate ourselves with competition with a competency model which is unmatched. So we try to build across the stable, build a domain competency. For example, if we take a radar, we build the 1 megawatt, the transmitter is designed by us. Nobody else designed that 100 kV, 50 kV switching modules we design. We design all of signal processing ourselves, which is important to others. We do the software in that. Similarly, the domain in the EW, the emitter classification, the software, library creation, everything is designed by us. So there is a differentiated model with respect to that. So on a one-on-one in a competition, we say there is no individual company who can do all of them. But what happens is just because we have products and competencies doesn't mean you get an order. Again, that's going to be on a marketing model and sale model. Because if customers then say, okay, I'll make it into 100 different parts and buy it, then you're commonplace and everybody is competing. But if you add all the total and say that all the 100 comes from one company, then I don't have a competition. So we work between 1 and 2. So we win some, we lose some. So that is the model. So we try to put more on capability and build the entire product. If customer is accepting that, for a faster delivery, then we stand a better chance of winning the contract. So this is the business we are in. We try to differentiate, build differentiation, build IP and competitiveness on a system level. We would like to say that we can compete with the foreigners. The competition is also, actually if you look at MOD, it is not the Indians who are competing. They are going through the Indians. But actually the products are coming from Israel, from Europe, from Russia, from various kind of organizations. So in all fairness, we say, if I want to be an equipment supplier in India and defense equipment, I would have to look at them as competition and also as collaborators. Both happens. So on a product model, if you want to compete in that particular segment, somebody is buying and integrating it or making work share and building it here. We have to look at them as a competitor on the cost and also the value addition which is done in India as a cost and see how do we sustain ourselves. So it's a very complex game, but we are slightly ahead of the game in terms of competency. We need to utilize that competency model to see that we get the revenues which we deserve.
Right. And one last bookkeeping question. If you can, if Venkat sir can share, what is the mix for our existing backlog and the order inflows that we're expecting of 500 crores with respect to single vendor projects and competitive bid-based projects?
No, I don't know because we immediately have single vendor classification in all orders. I can probably...
It's approximate mix as well.
Make it available. The mix will be, see, you remove the 254 crores is a tender order, which we got on par. If you remove that on the 600 crore order book which I have now, the other 350 crores, at least 250 crores or 200, more than 50% will be single vendor orders. That much I can tell you. Similarly, next 500 crores orders I'm expecting, I think more than 400 crores will be single vendor orders. Because these are all parts we already done before, and then the expected orders coming in picture. Exact value I don't have in that. Maybe we can take our database and have a look at which is single vendor and competitive and make a number and share it with Go India. That is possible.
Not a problem.
But this is the approximate thing which I have.
Thanks much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepak Sahu, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Sir, my question is how you see data pattern from now from 5-year point of view?
We would like to scale it more than 1,000 crore business minimum with either our products or collaborations or even looking at inorganic growth, but we want to scale.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll take one last question, which is from the line of Chinmay Deshmukh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Okay, hello. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I was watching your IPO presentation, the one which you took with the individual investors meeting. You were telling there was a radar that you have designed and there was a tender which will come out for it in the future. So you said that 30% you designed all the electronics in the radar and you have designed the whole radar also. So if another guy gets the order, you will get the electronics order. So how are we on that front? That tender has been offered?
No, that is the budgetary quotes have been taken by Air Force. It's for 18 radars. They have to move the file for what is called as acceptance necessity AON and get an approval of funds, after which tender will come. I expect in the year 22-23, the tender should come and they should finalize this. This is the expectation, what has been given to us. We have not projected that next year or year after next because the tender has to come before we can make a projection. For the next 2 years, we have not projected that. We have projected year after next one more such requirement, which is 8 radars for Arudra, where the inquiry has already come to Bharat Electronics. We expect that Bharat Electronics will finalize a contract in the next 9 months. Based on which back-to-back we should get an order. Maybe 23-24 we can have some deliverable on that. But that is still AON has not come. But we expect this to happen in the next 1 year.
Okay, and the last question of mine is, I saw your order book, majorly it is derived of radars only. So if we consider the 3 years after 2023, so the order book, do we have newer products which will give revenue as comparable to radars, or are we focusing on the radars only?
We will get, because if you take the Arudra, for example, at least on 3 crores of orders we should get to Arudra. If you get Ashwini, if that happens in the next 1 or 2 years, we should get more than 500 crores of business from Ashwini, because 18 radars are there. We've also developed and developed an airborne radar for a helicopter and a other platform that is being flight tested now. We expect some variation of that. The next generation radar, we expect the order to come from DRDO, where they will put the software and we will do the radar itself. We expect something to come and we want to deliver it next year. I expect a significant order for that, which we will deliver. So we're trying to do this. Plus, what's happening is the DRDO's own program for early warning radar. There is an enormous program which has been approved for ships based on FY2021-2022 systems. The number of radars is going to be required. There is a naval requirement which DRDO is doing, where multiple aircrafts, they want to do a naval, what is called maritime surveillance radars, and EW systems are going to go. EW, already our systems are flying in all that. We expect the next generation EW we are doing to fine. And then the radar opportunities also are there. As long as we get some part of the contract, we also scale. There are a number of ground-based radars which tenders are coming up. It all depends whether, I've not projected any of them because these are all tender situations. So unless we get the order, we don't know. There is no probability here, either 0 or 1. So we've not projected all of them. So there are not huge number of orders, the inquiries are expected. But we will work towards winning those contracts, but we are not considered it for our projections. Projections are considered based on single vendor contracts and what we already developed, where there's a measure of assurity that this contract will happen. Only that has been considered for our projection, or where we are very uniquely positioned, we have taken the position. But there are a number of opportunities, so it will scale. There are requirements in India, is very large, it will scale. So radars is an important area. We are also designing our own radars for make-to programs. We will develop our own radars based on the competencies we have done. We re-engineer some of the parts, try to do that so that keep the cost low in terms of development and see if we can give a requirement. And also I talked about collaborative work with partnership model. There again, we can do the equipment while they do the platforms or a weapon system. These are all in discussion stage. If it culminates to an MOU and an arrangement between us, this is what happens in international arena, where there's an ecosystem is done. And if India starts doing the ecosystem and we become part of the ecosystem, then the more predictability will come 5-6 years down the line in all of them. But that is the kind of timeline. But we for the next 4-5 years, we need to do with what has already been done the last 2 years, what we're doing the last 2 years, which is going to get into production within the next 1 or 2 years, which will keep us going in the middle term. As longer term directives have to be much different, the strategy is different, and the competency model and partnerships are going to be worked out to see the longer term directives, whatever the other gentleman asked, Mr. Dave, or Deepak asked me on 5-10 years from now, 5 years from now, what do you want to do? We need to have different kinds of directives to do that. That is why we want to have an eclectic mix, a service model, product model, consortium model, partner model. All of them we want to do both in India and outside India. We need to build up strategies to see that we address larger markets and have a visibility for 5 years how to scale the business.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rangarajan for closing comments.
First, I thank all of you for patiently listening to this. This is our first post-IPO call on Q3. I'm very happy to say that we've done reasonably well. We're fairly confident that the future is going ahead because we have orders on hand, and we believe we will get additional orders expected to see that we can scale the business as we go along. I wish to thank all the investors who have taken active interest and built up this company. I'm very grateful to them for having reposed their belief in Data Patterns. We will do our very best to see that we scale the company and meet your expectations. Thank you very much. And in case you have any further questions, please do send the questions to Go India, and we will have all of them addressed as early as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Go India Advisors, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
डिस्कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा।